Yeah, how y'all doing tonight? I'm here again with Bishop Scott and should be Shaq soon actually. Um, Got to discuss a couple things with this thing called the free thinking society, or well, matter of fact, let's not just say free. Let's say critical.
I like that.
I've realized a lot of things out here in the community, and people just not thinking clearly. I mean, even with me, I just looked at it and I was having discussions, and Frank Nitty, as well. We had a discussion with Bishop. We said, Bishop, something's not 100% there with that Uvalde shooting. Some things, some inadequacies here. It's not correctly pointing to the story, and it's an agenda as well. And Scott is right here, and I said I don't. I said I cannot give you a analysis on it. Let me give me a day or two to process it. See, I never. Let's say I never, when I first hear this story, I never take it at face value. I said, let me go do some research on this thing before I even state what I really want to say. People say, well, why you got to do it? No, don't do it because the news said it has happened. No, that don't mean that the way it happened. That does not mean it happened that way. But go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Bishop G Man Scott, Gerald William Scott. And of course, I have a program every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time entitled Real Talk with the G Man. And we discuss many of the current events, the current situations in this nation and around the world that impact us as a community, both black and the general American community as well, others within our community, and how we are struggling with truth versus fiction. That's what I call it, truth versus fiction. And the best example of that would be that Uvalde uh, mass shootings that happened a few weeks ago now there in Texas. And it just shows you that the media does not present the case well, and those that are surrounding the media, like the police and others, also are very deliberate in what they say. That thing changed so many times. You needed a card. You really needed a computer to dissect it all, to feed the information all in, and come up with some kind of conclusion. And we still have much to be learned. We know that the chief of police is stonewalling right now. He doesn't want to say anything about what happened. He no longer is responding to the Department of Justice or anybody else. And so there's a lot yet to be revealed. And I think that, to be honest with you, I'm believing to I believe that some things are that will be revealed, if ever, will be so devastating that it will show a true light of what's happening in this nation right now. It's more than just what's on the surface. Much more. And let me say this: that on my program when it first happened, well, this was a couple of days after it happened. Bernard, Frank, Chaq, and so many others on the program warned us: do not believe what you're hearing right now. When we had the first program, it was 14 killed, with one teacher included in the menagerie. Eventually, it was what 19 killed plus two teachers. Then we had that immediately there was confronted. The man was confronted by one of the security people at the school. Now we know he walked into school without anybody interfering with him entering into the school. So many things. We first thought that a teacher let opened the door. Now we find out it wasn't a teacher that opened the door, as they first said. So there's so many things that have been said about this thing that has been proven to be lies. I mean, we first said that they were there and they were confronting the man. Now we find out that they were actually outside confronting the parents, handcuffing them, manhandling them, and even tasing them. And while at the same time, the children were being killed one by one within the building. 19 officers were outside of the room in the hallway. But the chief of police said, do not move forward. This is now a hostage situation and no longer a shooting situation, though children inside the building were calling 911 saying their classmates were dying.
Okay, let me
You
bring something
change
to
it
you
from a
here.
hostage
Let me,
situation
let me bring
to a
something to
shooting
you.
situation.
You gotta understand something. And I want to break this down to you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people did not pay attention to what really happened. Because I told you, I sent you an article and they tried to block it.
Okay.
West did too. 2 days before they were doing active shooter drills in there building. And I told you active shooters are drill anyway.
Right.
So if you're doing active shooter drills in the building, right?
Mm-hmm.
They, like I said, some of it part real in part script. Maybe some people did that. But I tell you what would make it easier for me. You say they died, right? Show me the bodies.
Well, we know we did have some funerals. My thing is not so much whether someone died or not, and I believe they did die. I really do. My problem is the fact that it seems like there's always a conspiracy. And more than that, it seems like there's always an agenda. People take advantage of these things to promote their own agenda. The main thing that the Democrats right now are trying to promote is gun control and taking them out of the hands of the people. And so, you know, and that's the agenda. So when things like this do happen,
it's a special today.
Oh, here we go. I got another example, another reason why you need to take the guns out of people's hands. And my thing is not so much whether you do or you don't. My thing is that there's something else going on here. There's something else going on here. And I think you do it.
Some headphones right quick.
Huh?
Let me get some headphones.
Okay.
You go ahead and speak, though.
Okay, I was going to also say the thing I found out just last week about the shooting there in Buffalo. Did you know that the security guard that was killed was actually the target of the shooter? That he had patented and invented a sort of engine running that would make your cars run without gasoline. It would be H2O based or water based. People aren't even talking about that. That there was a target. That was the focus of that shooting. And it was not the people, it was not all of that. It was about this man who had just invented, a black man, in fact it was, and I'm trying to look at the name, I forgot the name.
Aaron Salter.
Yeah, that's it. That actually had invented, how you doing, Chaq? That actually had invented.
Peace.
Patented something that would take the place of gasoline and electric. And it was coincidence that he'd be the security guard that would die. The first person to die that day was him.
So that's what's called false flag.
Coincidence that this man did something that would certainly challenge the economy, the agenda of both the Democrat and Republican Party in this regard. The gasoline issue. If you can invent something, which he did, and patent something, which he did, that could actually get rid of some of these other things that are being used to fuel our automobiles and our trucks and our other vehicles for much less amount of money. I would look at him as being a threat to the capitalist system of this nation. Keep in mind, we're not so much of a democracy, we are a corrupt capitalist system where anything goes, with the Benjamins is all that really matters. Lives don't matter. They're insignificant. They're expendable. A life is a life. You know, tomorrow will be another baby born. So if 20 babies die today, there'll be 30 born tomorrow. So let the 20 die.
Go ahead, Shaq. Shaq, you there?
Oh, it's an echo. Is that me? Echoing?
I don't know what's going on, man. Every time I get on there, there's like an echo, man. You go ahead and go.
Oh man. Hey, Bishop, you was dropping it though, man. What you talking about? This guy, Salter's guy?
Yeah.
Why the mainstream media ain't talking about this guy?
They're not talking about that. They're not talking about that part. They're certainly not talking about that part at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want to talk about it.
Since they can always.
These news medias are owned by corporations, and these corporations are owned by people like Gates and all the other oligarchs in this nation. They don't want to talk. They don't want to tell us the truth. It's bad for business. It's bad for business. So to get politicians to stand up there and cry and weep and offer up flowers and flowery words and put their flags at half mast, they tell the politicians to go up there and do that.
You're right.
We are just as gullible as we want to be. We believe the hype. We believe we've been bamboozled, and we keep on believing in the okie doke. We keep on falling for it over and over and over again, and they're going to keep on doing it over and over again until somebody finally says, we have seen your card, and we know what you're playing. We saw your hand, and we know what you're playing with, and we're not going to fall for it anymore. You can't bluff us anymore. You got to call their bluff. We got to call their bluff, and we're not doing it.
You're right.
This is a poker game. It's a poker game. They're bluffing.
Casino. Sucker win every minute.
Yeah, they're bluffing you. And you're the first, and you fold your hand. It was all a bluff. But you believe the bluff, so you fold it, you threw in your hand, and you lost the game.
That's right. Go ahead, Shaq.
You gotta call the bluff.
You got some things that you probably gotta say. I know.
Yeah. I'm with Bishop, man. There's a lot of things that this administration needs to address. Just this government in general, the people that's so-called in power, that they ain't addressing. They try to come in and pander to Black Lives Matter.
But how they empower? Because I just told you they met with the Bilderberg group, and they just ended their meeting the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And about 120 members meeting. Kissinger, these guys. So who really empowered? And they were talking about global market meltdowns, Ukraine. They were talking about all the issues they can do to help decide. So are they really empowered? Or is the Bilderberg group that's empowered? Or is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The World Health Organization just met to discuss a pandemic treaty a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Who's really the don?
Hey, what was it echoing before I came on?
Yes.
Was it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's gone now.
I didn't hear anything.
I don't hear it.
Say it again.
I don't hear it now.
Okay, yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, it's
better now. Okay.
Go ahead.
But yeah, you're right, Bernard. The people that's in power, we don't know who they are. We don't know who these people are, man. But
we don't want to reveal it. About a month or two ago, I named all the people in power around the world. I named all the oligarchs and all of the United States, the oligarchs of Brazil, and the oligarchs of Russia. They all are working together for a common cause. And the common cause is what? For them to get more power, more money, more prestige. Everybody is expendable. Everybody. Bernard talked about, and sent me information, I talked about that a few weeks ago, about the population of the world. Who's running that? The same folk. The same people. You'll see the same names over.
And they had CIA directors at this Bilderberg meeting.
But we're afraid to say the names.
William Burns, the director of the CIA, was at this Bilderberg meeting.
There you go.
Henry Kissinger was one.
You know what he's
CEO
like.
of Pfizer was one. I think the GlaxoSmithKline CEO was one of them.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of members. I can't name everybody. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm not going to waste my time naming everybody. You can Google it. Bilderberg.
Yeah, you can.
Meetings. Bilderberg group meetings. You can find out who were there. I think a Democrat from Arizona was there named Cinema too as well. But what I'm trying to tell you, it was a long list of attendees. I sent the list of attendees last week. So they had this meeting. And matter of fact, It used to be in Chantilly, Virginia. They moved it to Washington, D.C. this time. I'm trying to find out why they moved the location.
Let me ask y'all, do y'all think that the United let me ask you, Bishop, because you're a little bit older than us. Maybe somebody in the chat, maybe Bernard know. The United States of America per se, right? This particular are we the last left republic nation?
We're not
any more of the republic nation?
Let me tell you what a republic is. Let me first start with a democracy. A democracy is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. A republic is the persons that you elect because everybody can't rule. So we elect people to represent us. That's a republic. They are the people that we elect to go to Washington, to go to your state capitals, to go to your city halls in your town. That's a republic. They are representing the people because the people, we all can't run this thing independently. We got to have somebody to represent us. So that's what a republic is. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people. A republic are the people that we elect to represent us. Now we know for a fact the people that we elect to represent us don't represent us. So that means we're not a democracy. We're not a republic. We are run by an oligarchy. An oligarchy is rule by a few. The rule by a few. So we are not a democracy. We're not a republic. We are a oligarchy. And we have to understand that. And how that happened is because we have abdicated our position. We fall for the okie doke. We send to Washington into your state capitals, into your city halls, people that have no good thing for us. They are obligated to satisfy the people that are in power, the oligarchs. So though we elect them, that's where democracy stops. Democracy stops with us electing everybody. That's where it stops. Okay. Because the people that we elect don't represent us. Remember, democracy is of the people, by the people, for the people. Now they're of us. We elect them, but they're not for us. We know that. They're not for us at all. And we as African Americans.
So what you say, Bishop? So what you say, the oligarchy throw a couple trinkets out to us people to make us think like we getting ahead, but we just getting little trinkets.
That's right. That's right. If you look at it, they're the ones profiting more than we are. I always say this. If you think that all these sportsmen and all these entertainers are getting millions and millions of dollars, you know the owner got to be making more than that. How can I pay you a $40 million contract and I have $2.50? So
let's go back. Let's go back to Dave Chappelle, right? His situation happened in 2011, 2012, some shit?
Yeah. It's been about 10 years now, yeah.
They say he turned down $50 million deal, right? But it turned out that what's the name? The network, Comedy Central Network, or whoever was producing that show, they was profiting $500 million.
It makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense if I'm giving you $50 million. How much do you think I have? I mean, think about it. If I give you for $500, I gotta have much more than $500 for me to give you $500. So if I give you $50 million, I gotta have much more than $50 million. Because keep in mind, you ain't the only entertainer there. You're not the only football player on the team. I got 20 people. Right. I got 50 people. I got 60 people I'm paying. Not even counting the managers and the coaches and the trainers and all those people that are also getting big bucks. If they get all of this, what am I getting? Because I'm the owner. How much money am I getting?
So they just call it what it is. It's called a pimp game.
It is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is. And we're under the illusion that we got something to do with it. The only thing we got to do with it is this. We send them to Washington. We do that. But where we fall short is when we find out they're not doing anything for us, we keep on sending them back.
So let me ask a question, Bishop.
Yeah.
Is this like a pimp slapping his prostitute?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the prostitute's making the pimp wealthy, and she keeps on coming back with more money, though she gets beat up, or she don't get half the money, or she knows she don't give enough money even to live off of, and he treats her like a dog, but that's the only game in town, so she keeps on going back.
Well, that's what we keep doing,
We
right?
keep on going back over and over again. We keep on going back. The man done beat us, has lied to us, has flim-flammed us, has given us nothing but gestures and symbolism, but we keep on going back. We keep on dancing to the same tune, keep on pulling the same levers, keep on pushing the same buttons, hoping for something different this time. And yet, what do they call that? A person who does the same thing over and over again with the same results is called a person who's insane. That's insanity.
Right.
That's insanity. When you do the same thing over and over again, expecting something different to happen this time when it hasn't happened in 400 years. Why would you expect it to be different this time? But we do. We do. And then we look at the other group as being our open enemies. I'm going to tell you the truth there, Harsh. I'm going to say this. I'd rather know you're my enemy than for you to pretend you're my friend.
Right. Hey, Bernard, do you got a couple windows open?
No.
I wonder if I could come back out.
No. I don't know what's going on. I tell you, every time we do this now, I don't know what happened. Probably fucking with this shit. I don't know. But let me do something right quick because I gotta break this down. Let me read this disclaimer. Kind of get to the meat and potatoes of the show. Fair use, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use of purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by copyright statute and otherwise might be infringing. So I had to put that out there. Thank you to the Hurricane Report for making it for me. Now, gotta read this thing to you about free thinking. Y'all call it free thinking, critical thinking, whatever y'all want to use. Okay. The free thinker is a person who rejects accepted opinions, especially those concerning religious belief, but thank you. Okay. Free thinkers can include atheists, agnostics, and rationalists. Okay. Do free thinkers have a basis in morality? There's no great mystery in morality. Most free thinkers employ the simple yardsticks of reason and kindness. Most free thinkers are humanists based morality on human needs, not imagined cosmic absolutes. This embraces a respect for our planet, including other animals, and feminine principles of equality. More dilemmas involve a conflict of values, requiring a careful use of reason to weigh the outcomes. Free thinkers argue that religion promotes a dangerous and inadequate morality based on blind obedience, unexamined ultimatums, pie in the sky rewards, and heaven of good things here. Free thinkers try to base actions on their consequence to real, live human beings. I'm just going down the paragraphs. I mean, but I want y'all to interject when y'all can. Just bring this out there. This is how you critically think. This is why I say I don't get wrapped up into emotion all the time. I don't know where you're at, Chaq. Maybe.
Well, let me say this. I certainly am a religious. I don't believe in religion too much anymore. I believe I'm a Christ person, and that's what I say from now. I don't say I'm a Christian. I don't say Christianity. I say I'm a Christian, meaning what I mean by that is a follower of Christ. However, I think that many things that we say are not of Christ or of religion, quote unquote, is actually religious. Actually, to me, the spiritual realm is reality. And you cannot even understand the physical realm unless you understand the spiritual realm. Now, if you're going to be stuck on your own historical, traditional values that you believe your denomination, your church, your synagogue, your temple, your mosque, whatever the case may be, if you're stuck on that and cannot be open enough to hear and not only other people's opinion, but the spiritual realm. I told BJ today, I said to him, I said, now you may believe it or don't believe it. I don't know how you feel about these terminologies because they are Christian terminologies, but I believe that he has a gift of discernment, and discernment is being able to discern fact from fiction, lies from truth. That's all it is. Now you can call it discernment, and that's what the religious realm calls it. The spiritual realm calls it that. But whether you call it that or not, it's still the same thing. Sometimes we get ourselves stuck on semantics and words and not in the principles. There's a principle called discernment, the ability to discern or to understand or to catch lies and catch truths. And many times, Bernard was saying, well, something I always believe this about Bernard, when he steals away, if something's being discussed on a program or whatever, whether his program or my program or Valerie's program or Shaq's program, whomever, Frank's program, doesn't matter. If he does not know the answer, see, sometimes we fake the funk and we act like we really know. What he'll do is you'll see him steal away. He'll be very quiet. He won't make a comment on it, and he will just steal away. What he's doing is doing this. He's looking up and understanding and getting some information to either validate what you're saying or challenge what you're saying. But he doesn't do it like many people do in an emotional fit. I don't like that, so I'm going to say, no, I don't know. I don't agree with that. You have no proof. You have no backing. You have nothing but your feelings. That's all.
Well, let me say something. It's only
Shaq is the same way.
I told you, Bishop, earlier. He is, and I told you, Bishop, earlier. There's only one thing with the truth. It's only three options with the truth. You can either accept it, you can run from it, or you don't give a damn.
Yeah, you reject it. Either one of the three. But let me say this. But the truth is still the truth, whether you reject it, whether you accept it, or whether you run away from it. It's still the truth. The truth stands on its own. It don't need backing up. It don't need support. It don't need your validation. The truth's going to be the truth, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. And what I said before to Bernard today is, when you run away from the truth, you run toward the lie. There's only two things out there, a lying or the truth. Ain't no such thing as part truth. There's no such thing as that. Half truth, a little bit of truth. No, if it's not true, it's not true. It's almost like a white lie and a black lie. They're both lies, okay? This idea that the Democrats and the Republicans both are saying they're giving us candidates are the lesser of two evils. The bottom line is they're both evil. You're saying choose the lesser of them. So you're saying choose either the devil or a demon. You're going to be in trouble either way you go. and that's what I have a problem with. This government, the politicians are only giving us, and we're allowing them to do it, they're only giving us people that are the lesser of two evils. What does that say about you and me? That we accept to vote for people that are lesser of two evils. Their own parties are saying, Hillary's no good either, but she's better than Trump. The Democrats said Biden's no better, but he's better than Trump. So you're saying that choose a bad candidate either way. You have no choice but to choose a bad candidate. And we, instead of challenging them and demanding that they give us good candidates, worthy candidates, candidates that really look after the interests of the people, we allow it to happen. And what we do is we vote for Biden because we don't want Trump. And then we find, but if you look at Biden's political record, his political record is worse than Trump, because Trump has no political record other than when he ran for president. Biden has 46 years of political record, going back to 1973, when he was first elected as a senator to Delaware. 1973. He's been a senator for 30-some years, a vice president for 8 years, and now a president. You can see his record. You can't see no Trump record because Trump has no political record other than when he ran in 2016. But we'll dismiss all of that stuff about Biden. 30-some years of Biden standing against busing, calling blacks jungle bunnies, calling blacks predators, saying that he wants to get rid of Social Security, that he wants to do all this. He said all this before. Said that I wouldn't think about reparations unless it includes Native Americans. He told us all of that. And we still go ahead and vote for him.
Hey, wait a minute. Go ahead. Hold on. I want Shaq to say one thing. Go ahead, Shaq.
Hold on. Hey, Bishop, boy, you be dropping in fire, Bishop. I thought I'd be drinking the fire, boy. You the new fire-breathing dragon, boy. I got to get. Hey, but look. I'm going to say it on this platform. I said it before Bernard heard me. If we ain't in hell, we must be in hell's waiting room.
Come on now. Come on now.
Well, hey, because look at the things, man, that's going on, man. Let's be honest, man. With this, with this transgender stuff, man. Now, I'm gonna ask the question: were the Angels transgenders?
I don't know. They got a football transgender now in Carolina Panthers.
The reason why I asked it, let's do this. What about, you ever heard of a homorphodite?
Mm-hmm. Got both parts.
Is that that's two? Okay. I'm confused. How does that happen? Is that just part of nature? Is that some type of freak?
Right.
Scientific. I mean, lab scientist assignment.
Well, to me, no. I think it's a disability. I think it's a disability. That's how I look. I don't think it is being, well, God willed it and I I think it's just like me having cerebral palsy. Something happened to my brain in my mother's womb. Some damage happened, and it caused me to have cerebral palsy. That means I can't use my right hand. I have a limp. All this type of thing when I do walk. This is what happens. And I think amorphidites are the same thing. They're just like anyone else who has a disability. That's a disability. In my mind, that's a disability. We have two different parts, different organs of both genders. I think it's a disability. Something went wrong, and it caused this issue to happen. Don't mean you're different. Don't mean you're lesser than. It means you're just like any other disabled person. So don't make it sound like it's some kind of badge of courage or something, or some kind of badge of honor. It's a disability.
Okay. So what is up with this non-binary stuff, man? Because see what it is, it's confusing people. And like you said, even if there are people that believe that they are non-binary, there's only such a small population. Then why they have so much say so and decisions being made in society, forcing things on people that does not.
Think about it like this, Shaq. The oligarchs only make up 1% of the population, yet they control 99% of the population. How does that happen? Because of the fact it's what society throws at us. It's what society says it accepts. Society is determined by, let me see who is determined by. It's determined by people that profit from it, which means that the people that push for all this stuff are also part of the oligarchical order. The same people that Bernard was talking about, those names and stuff, this works for them. That's the only reason why anything is pushed. That's the only reason why anything is supported. That's why any candidate is supported. You have to go by the order of what these guys are saying. You have to march to the tune that they play, the band that they're in. You cannot go contrary.
Now, wait a minute. And if you don't go with it right, 100%, they're gonna make sure to get you out of office.
But the weird part about it, Bernard, is this: they're so slick. They're very slick because these oligarchs control both parties. Okay,
that's right.
Don't think that they only control the Democrats or they only control the
Republicans. They control both.
They control them both, and they purposely put them to make them appear as though they're at odds with each other.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, all the major things that this nation stands for, all of them will send a military army into a country to get the resources from that country. All of them do that. It's always 100%. Never is a quad squad. You got a couple of them here and there, but they ain't nobody. They're gonna still lose. And I believe this. I believe they even set up the people in opposition so that you don't think it's a phony, that it's phony. Oh well, Senator Sanders was against it. Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's against it. It's all a game, baby. Yes. You gotta have an opposition. It can never be always 100%, but people are gonna get suspicious of that. Everybody can't always agree. So let me answer these
questions in chat right quick. Peach to thee said, did you see the video footage of the egg farm on fire? Everything's on fire. Chicken farms, eggplants.
Yeah.
It's all going on.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
You said eggplants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was an egg farm that caught on fire.
Well, when my wife went to the store to get some lamb, because I love lamb, and she said two small pieces with a whole lot of bone in them cost $20. Now I used to get lamb, like 3 or 4 of them bad boys, for $6, $7, $8. Now they cost $20. Empty shelves everywhere. You can't buy a lot of stuff. You can't buy rationing off. Then you got these fires that are destroying crops and destroying produce. Then you got the gas prices. All this
criminal activity.
Exactly.
This is criminal activity to the highest power.
But you know who was successful? The wealthy got more wealthy during the pandemic than any other group in the world. They prospered off of this catastrophe. And did you also know this? Right. And I know Bernard was talking about this a while back, and I looked it up, and it's absolutely true. Many of these senators and congressmen, they own stock in Pfizer. They own stock in it. They're part owners of it. They get money from it. They get a kickback from it.
Don't you like to find out how the game is played? Don't you like to find out how the game is played?
It is a conflict, but who's going to judge him? And I know our friend Bianchi was saying about the states have a power, and I keep on telling him, I said, Bianchi, you're right in principle. But every state official wants to go to Washington. That's why they don't challenge Washington enough, because they want to get there, because they know that's where the money is. You ain't getting wealthy being a state senator. You're not getting wealthy by being a mayor. You need to be a United States senator, a United States House of Representative member, the president of the United States. That's where the money comes in. So they will give you a little rhetoric. Oh no, we against this, and we against that. All their aspirations is to get to Washington. The Republicans and the Democrats. The governor of Florida wants to get to Washington. The governor of Pennsylvania wants to get to Washington. The governor of California wants to get to Washington. That's where they all want to go, because that's where the money is. See, I'm going to tell you something. The oligarchs don't deal with the 50 states because that's too many states, too many rules, too many regulations. So they want to deal with the people in Washington, where they have one rule, one constitution, all that. They don't have to deal with a whole bunch of different laws and regulations and stipulations that you do if you're going to deal with all 50 states. So they bypass the 50 states. You notice they don't get wealthy. Not like these ones in Washington, D.C. They don't live in $4 million homes like Maxine Waters. They don't live in $8 million homes like Nancy Pelosi. They don't with $185,000 salary. That's what the Speaker of the House gets, but she lives in an $8 million home. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. Anybody even have a little bit of math knowledge knows you can't make $185,000 and live in an $8 million home without something else going on. Let's be real. Come on, let's be real. I mean, this don't take great mathematicians. Don't have to have a PhD in physics to figure that one out.
Unless it's a donation. Is it a donated? Unless they donated it home to her.
Man, they're getting kickbacks every time they put a bill through that helps Israel. Israel gives them a couple of dollars. Every time they do something that the industrial complex gets a boost in, they get a couple of dollars. Every time they get the military complex, they get a couple of dollars. Every time the prison complex, the privatization of prisons, they get a couple of dollars there. They get a couple of dollars every time they legislate something that profits these big multi-billion and trillion-dollar people. They get a kickback from it. They ain't worrying about you. All they want from you is your vote. That's why they only come to see you every 4 years, every 2 years, every 6 years. They only come then to get your vote. After they got your vote, they say, bye, thank you, sucker. Thank you, sucker. I'll kiss your baby when the baby's 4 years old. I'll kiss him again when he's 8 years old. And I kiss him for the final time when he's 12 years old. After that, they'll be thinking I'm a pedophile, so I can't kiss him anymore. I kick their hand.
After this, Benoit, I'm gonna bring some up. I'm gonna drop some on y'all head. Everybody needs to pay attention.
Let me bring this up. Do free thinkers have meaning in life? They know that meaning must originate in the mind, since the universe is mindless and the cosmos not care. You must care if you wish to have purpose. Individuals are free to choose within the limits of humanistic morality. Some people find meaning in human compassion, social progress, the beauty of humanity, personal happiness, pleasure, joy, love, and advancement of knowledge. They will even ask if a child knows to ask if God made everything, then who made God? Free thinkers recognize that there is much chaos, ugly, and pain in the universe, for which any explanation or origins must also account. They believe that nothing is to be gained by believing in untruth, but there's everything to lose when we sacrifice the indispensable tool of reason on the altar of suspicion. Free thinkers consider religion to be not only untrue but harmful. It's been used to justify war, slavery, sexism, racism, homophobia, mutilation, intolerance, and oppression of minorities. The totality of religious absolutes shows progress. Most religions are good people, but they would be good anyway. Religion does not have a monopoly on good deeds. I'm not getting to that part right there. There's too many names. I'm not going to get into that. Most religions have consistently resist progress, abolition of slavery, women's right to vote, medical development, contraception, use of anesthesia, and the American principle of state in church. Now, this is a big thing right here. Do free thinkers have a specific political persuasion? No, it's philosophical, not a political position. Free thinkers today embrace the virtue of all political persuasions. Bishop, you were talking about it. Capitalists, libertarians, socialists, communists, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives. Some free thinkers, as Adam Smith and Ayn Rand, were staunch capitalists, there have been communist groups with early religions such as the early Christian church. Then why should I be happy to be a free thinker? Free thought is reasonable. Free thought allows you to do your own thinking. A plurality of thinking, free from restraints or orthodox, allows ideas to be tested, discarded, or adopted. That's really the truth that we're really saying. Free thinkers see no pride in the blind maintenance of ancient superstitions or self-effacing projects between divine tyrants known only through primitive revelation. Free thought is respectable. Free thought is truly free. What I'm trying to say is here, I just want to bring this to your attention. That's why I say it's not good that forget having a political persuasion. What's the facts and what's the fiction? What he said about Joe Biden, call you jungle bunnies, whatever you want to use, right? Roaches, whatever. That is fact. That's on record.
Right.
Well, basically, you just said Donald Trump, there were no facts in his political record because he didn't have one.
Right. There you go.
But when I look at the political record now of Donald Trump, I can say that gas was not $489 in Richmond. I can say there was no wars that were created more. There was no Russia-Ukraine war. Wasn't something here. Wasn't something there. It wasn't this. It wasn't this. I even told Chaq earlier, daggone, I made more money under the Donald Trump administration than I ever did in my life. Thank you very much. So
well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Donald Trump is the one who gave us the more significant stimulus checks. Biden gave us $600. Trump gave us twice thousands of dollars. So while Trump gave us thousands, Biden gave us 600, wasn't even near 1,000, half of that. He gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Can I be a witness to that?
Even there, you know.
I can bear witness that, and I can say Trump. He did not force transgenderism. He did not force LGBT on your children. Right? It was not forced on your children. This administration came in and they were out the gate, they forced it on the children. So you're gonna try to take the authority out of the parents' hands?
Well, they
for government? Put
Biden
government over the parents' authority?
But Biden, when it came in to destroy everything Trump stood for, he had nothing to stand on himself. So when you have nothing to stand on,
like a madman.
What you do is make the other guy the target. Trump is still talked about more now. I've never seen a former president blamed for everything 2 years after he's been through as president. He only served 4 years, okay? He's been gone 2 years. But everything's still Trump's fault. I've never seen this in my life. I've had presidents that were stayed in 8 years, and once they left, their names are never mentioned again. You don't hear nothing about George W.
No.
George W. was in 8 years. Nobody talks about George W. Now he's a hero. Now people used to hate his guts. Now he's a hero. He used to be a war criminal. Now he's a hero.
Kanye West did mention on file facts. It's on record. He did say George Bush hate black people.
Well, we know. Kanye was more. Kanye West is more. Though. I mean, he's more leans toward the Trump kind of thing. So, you know.
But before that, though, we didn't know his political views. Before that,
no, that's true. We didn't know.
Before that, right? He was a free thinker, though. Right back to the free thinker thing.
But we have to be careful of this. We have to be careful of free thinkers, though, because every free thought is not always true thought. See, there's still, like we said initially, there still is a thing called the truth. And we got to be careful because free thinking only means I have a thought of my own. I've analyzed the situation. I've looked at it. I've theorized. I've analyzed. And I've come up with this conclusion. It does not mean because I came up with my own conclusion after much consideration that what I came up with is true. See, my thing now is in my age, I just want the truth. I don't care who's speaking it. I don't care if somebody says, well, I'm a free thinker and all that. See, I'm going to tell you something. See, there's a free thinker, but then there's one step beyond that. There are those who seek the truth. It's not just thinking freely. I mean, the devil thought freely.
Well, how about a critical thought? Critical thinking.
Mm-hmm. Even that's critical to what? Compared to what? I want the truth. I want truth thinking. Can we get the truth thinking to find out the truth? Because everything can't be true.
No, it can't.
Yeah, because
that's true.
I'm still puzzled on. They saying we came from monkeys.
True, that means there's nothing that's a lie, which means you go for it. Whatever you think is true, go for it.
Well, let me say something. Hold on. Let me say something. Well, I'm gonna give a shout out to the free thing on this one because we're gonna use our free thought on this one.
Mm-hmm.
June 6th. No, June 9th.
Okay.
8:00 p.m. They're gonna have a prime time audience to talk about the January 6th so-called insurrection on prime time TV. And I said, you got to be kidding me right now. What are you trying to deflect from?
All this mess happening now.
Exactly.
That's what it is. They want to go back to, once again, back to Trump. That takes everybody's mind off of what's happening right now. Right now, you can't buy a piece of lamb for under $20. That's what's happening right now. Right now, the gas prices by the summer's end will be $8 in most places in the country. That's what's happening right now. But you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with none of that. You want to go back and rehash something that is so old now. It's just a joke. It's a joke.
Let me ask you, Bishop. When you was a little boy, did y'all pay for water?
No. There was no bottled
water.
Did
you ever think in your life that you had to pay for water?
Nope. Nope.
There you go.
No, we didn't pay for a lot of stuff. Gasoline when I was coming along was 25 cents a gallon. When I was a little boy. When I became a man, it was $1.50.
Wow.
$1.50 a gallon. I could take $5.
You know what?
I could have zero in my tank. Take $5 and fill my car up.
I got to give credit to somebody that I watch him, the podcast, you know what I'm saying? And he brought up, he's about 6 years old, so I listen to him. He's an older guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there was a time in American history that America was great. But he put a spin on it. He said, make America great again was a thing that Trump was trying to bring back, that America and a lot of things were homegrown forward. We had a lot of homegrown things that we built up, economics built up from within. People had jobs. People could suffice and can live off of their own income. That when America was great. Now, we still have details inside America that they was going on. We still have murders and killings going on. But as an economy and as a power nation, we built wealth within. As a nation, we built wealth within.
True.
Now everything is outsourced.
Yeah.
Jobs are going. People,
Look what we're doing.
you know what I mean?
Look at Biden right now. Biden was courting Iraq and shunned Saudi Arabia. Okay? He talked about them like dogs. And now he has to now go with his tail between his legs to Saudi Arabia to beg them to release their oil. It's because Iran doesn't have any oil of that.
Right.
Now he can go back to Saudi Arabia and kiss their butts after he just lambasted them, almost declared war on the daggone nation. Called them barbaric and cannibalistic and all that. All these terms, he likes using throw these little terms around. He likes to call people names. He really does like that. And now he has to go back to the same people and squeeze the charm and beg them to give us. Oh, come on, people.
See what I'm saying? But Bishop, you a man of a certain age, right?
Yeah.
Now go back to what I was saying. Name some of these major companies that y'all was able to go work for, like McDonnell Douglas.
Oh yeah.
And make a good living and stuff. Nestle, Hershey, name them. Ford. Come on, name some of them.
Boeing. The post office, we had a lot of
Boeing.
government jobs. The post office, everybody was a part of that. Everybody was part of the post office. A lot of blacks. My grandfather was a part of the post office for 30-something years. So I mean, you're right. We were
Budweiser.
Companies.
Now, what I'm making a point is that was when America was great. Now we still had our own individual things that were going on, like say racism and prejudice and stuff. But as America, we were great because we were self-sufficient.
Helped us though, Chaq. Even segregation helped us because what it did was we had our own stuff. So we had our own schools. We had our own schools, our own universities. I went to a black school. I went to a black church. I went to a black dentist. I went to a black doctor. I went to a black barber. My mother and them went to a black hairdresser. We got our nails done amongst ourselves. We didn't have to go to Koreans and Vietnamese and Chinese for Chinese food. We made our own food. We had our own soul food places and this like that. So because of segregation, we actually developed our own community. What happened was once integration came about, everybody wanted to be where the white man is. I want to go now to the white school. I don't want to go to Morehouse. I want to now go to Howard. I don't want to go to Harvard. I don't want to go to Howard. I want to go to Harvard. I don't want to go to Payne Seminary. I want to go now to Princeton. I don't want to go to all the black schools. I want to go now to the white schools. Because now the University of Alabama opens their door to us. Now the University of Arkansas opens the door to us. We couldn't get life insurance through Mutual of Omaha and those places like that, Prudential. So we had North Carolina Mutual, which was a black-owned insurance company. That's where my grandparents and my parents, that's where we got insurance. Now we're integrated. So now we leave them all behind and we go to our own. We used to have TV stations like BET. BET's owned by Jews
Mhm.
now. We had Ebony, the Johnson family, owned Ebony and Jet. Both of those are now owned by white
There you
folks.
go.
Redstone.
hmm
There you go. Motown. Motown ain't black. And they ain't having no black people no more. Barry Gordy sold that to the Jews years ago now. All this
Now, tell me they want America being great again. That's not the problems we got inside America, but that was America being great, being sufficient
Right.
of themselves, of ourselves.
Right. But see, it's weird.
That's
how,
all I'm saying.
But
Mhm.
it's weird how when we say America is great, I'm gonna leave this little point to you. We were never included in that equation. Because how can it be great when you're sicking dogs on black people in the South, where you can only drink at water fountains that say colored only, where you can't eat everywhere? So it all matters on whose perspective it is. You're right. For Americans and for a few blacks, it was great. But for many, it wasn't. And it never has been, never will be. Like I think you said earlier in your program, Shaq, today, you said that it started off with enslaving people, killing people.
Mhm.
That's how we became a
Guns.
country. The immigrants from Europe came here and slaughtered everybody that was here. So
we did have enough guns, Bishop.
Hmm?
The immigrants, those were immigrants
that's what I'm saying.
at the
The
time. They were
European
immigrants. They would have been migrants. They would have been refugees that came here, and they had more
Right.
guns.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it started off as an aggressor. It wasn't great. It was great for them because they now have another whole country. That's great for somebody from
Right.
Europe. But it wasn't great for the natives that were here, the indigenous people that were here. It wasn't great for the slaves that worked for 300 plus years. It wasn't great for those who had land and lost it because the white man wanted that land and he gave it to them for nothing. Took their guns and shot them, slaughtered them, almost made them extinct to the point that most of us don't know that blacks were here first because the original people were almost wiped off this land.
Right.
So that's why we now are looking at only slaves as being the first blacks, because the real first blacks are gone. Many of them are gone. You have a few that are part of that lineage, but most of them were almost wiped off the face of the earth. And that's what you call great.
Well,
We start off. We weren't great starting off. We weren't great when we did what we did to other people that came here that didn't look like the white man. We raped, just like you said today. We raped. They abused.
right. Yeah.
They whipped. They slaughtered, almost to the point of extinction.
Torture.
That's not. It was great for them. It was great for them. Because now they got a country. All the land is their land. But it says this land is your land, this land is my land. They didn't really mean that, not your land. They mean that said my land and my cousin's land. Not yours land, my land.
So would you say they got a what? Let me see.
What's up, Turner?
When did you say that they really came in prep?
Huh?
Turner in the chat. What up, Turner? Would you say, Bishop, that there would be a what? Let me see. We're in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We're in 2020 right now. Let me
Right.
see. Would you say that's a 200-year head start in economics?
Longer than that, if you talk about, like you said, if we're the indigenous people, that means we were here thousands of years ago. So 2022, we were already here thousands of years before 2022 was even thought about. So they got a head start. If you talk about when they came over here really in about the 1500s. So now we're in 2000.
I'm talking about wait. But they didn't take over in the 1500s. They didn't take over by night. It took time for them to take over.
Oh no.
But they had to study, had to do research, recon.
Yeah, but for the most part, they had a lot of influence by the 1500s when those guys, Magellan and all them came to America and all of that kind of stuff. They started making a change. But even when Christopher Columbus, look what he did over there in the islands. He never made it to the United States of America. He never made it here, but he did make it to North America. Well, look what he did with those people. And that was 1492. That was before the 1500s. He slaughtered them, killed them. We've read narratives about that, what he did to those people. So it looked like wherever the white man goes, he's always just a trail of tears. behind him.
Ooh,
It was always good for him.
wow, that's
He
a
always
boy
had the
there.
best end of the deal. There's no doubt about it. He had a great country at one time. And you know what they mean really by not being great again? It meant that too many of us came into the picture. Too many non-whites came into the picture.
Uh-oh.
And that's when it became not great again. So what do you mean by making it great again? You mean back in what time? When you took land from people that had land for thousands of years? That's when it was great for you? It was great for you, yeah. You got off the boat, now you own the whole country. I mean, that's pretty good. Half of you came out of caves after we had already been civilized. Came out of caves, got a boat, and came here and conquered the whole, all the land. That's pretty, yeah, you're right. That's great for you. They got a great history now. They got a great history. Because they were in caves long when we were already civilized and had kingdoms and everything else, empires and everything else. They were still in caves and cannibals. They came out the caves, got little boats together.
So how can they civilize us, Bishop? How was they civilizing us?
Because that's what they said they were. And we weren't. And we
because they say it.
See, I'm gonna tell you something. The white man believes. Listen to this. The white man believes in this. Always has. He believes in what we call manifest destiny. Manifest destiny means he was destined from the Creator to rule the world. Look how they did with the Bible. Who was the son that's supposed to be over all the other sons of Noah? It was been Japheth. Who was Japheth?
Cain. Was it?
Japheth was no. I'm saying of the sons of Noah. Who was the one that was supposed to be the master of all of them, of his brothers? Japheth. Who was Japheth? They say Japheth was the one who that went to Europe. The European brother. Now, which is stupid. But how can you be the child of Noah and his wife and you have three races? Come on, don't be stupid. That's stupid. But they believe it.
That mean one of them had to be either Noah had to be multiracial or his wife had to be multiracial. But if they come out like that.
Yeah, but everybody was, who say what they were. But I know one thing: you can't have three children with three different DNAs. That's impossible. Not with actually DNAs, meaning racial DNAs. I don't mean somebody has light skin and somebody has dark skin. We know that happens all the time. I mean, I got people in my family that's very brown, and I got people in my family that's even lighter than me. But there's still.
Bishop, they also said.
If you look at our DNA is the same. My brother's brown.
They also said that. They also said that the human woman can conceive by immaculate conception. So, hey.
Yeah, I mean that's.
What do you think about that, Bernard?
Hey man, you go ahead and drag, man.
My thing, but see, that's what I like. This is my truth. My truth is this. This is what I believe always. I don't get stuck on things that don't matter to me. Let's say, for example, Christ was a man born of Joseph and Mary, and not the Holy Spirit and Mary. It don't matter to me. What he taught, how he lived, and what he did supersedes whether he had a mother and father that were human, a father that was divine, a mother that was human. I don't care about that. That's not my important part. People argue about whether he was married. What does that got to do with anything? We want to argue about things that have no meaning and have no significance. And what we do, and the man loves that. He likes when we get preoccupied with the nonsense and ignore the significance. There are significant things that we need to argue.
But you know what, Bishop? I think that should be significant because if you're telling me that I should model myself behind this person, when I can't see myself in this person, I can't. I'm seeing the person being married. How can I marry myself behind a person that's never been married? You can't tell me how marriage goes if you've never been married and you never had a successful marriage. Let's just be honest. You got to lead by example.
Let me bring up something here. I wanted to bring up a topic right here. I forgot to mention this. And I don't want to forget before I finish. Hold tight. I was talking to Chaq, but I don't think I told you, Bishop, earlier. You mentioned George W., right?
Yeah.
There's a 2005 act, everybody needs to read it, called the Real ID Program. It's going into effect next year by the Department of Homeland Security. It says basically if you don't have this Real ID, you won't be able to access federal services and you won't be able to fly. That's what it says. But like I told a guy, and a guy told me, a friend of mine, West told me, that it ain't gonna be just federal service, right? They're gonna probably tie that in. They tell you, oh, you won't be able to fly domestically, and blah blah blah. But when they say it's only for 2 things, you better believe it's about 100 more things they got in it. But it's already in effect in Cali. Okay, so Frank's saying it's already in effect in Cali, but it's a Real ID. I think you get it for D, but it's that program by the Department and it's actually been since 2005 by the Bush administration. But they trying to put everything. You see, a lot of people don't understand. After the year 2000, everything. Now they've been trying this new order stuff for a long time. The Bush administration, this 1999 shadow government with Clinton that started this shadow government. Daggone, that's what you're talking about, the oligarchs.
No, you have to think of this. Eisenhower, which I remember as well, but I was around then too. I'm old. Told you I'm old. Eisenhower warned that there would be a day like this. And he was president from 1952 to 1961. He warned that there would be days like 1953, rather, to 1961. He warned that there was going to be, you better be careful. There's going to become a time when all those military things and those complexes, he said it. He actually said, where the complexes and those that run them will run the nation and the world. That's the white David Eisenhower. Said that way back there before Kennedy was even president. All those people that followed him. He warned us. He warned the nation that we're heading toward a time when the military and all the other industrial complexes will rule this country. He warned against it. And here we are, that was 1953. Now we're here 2022, nearly 70 years later. Be 70 years next year. Here we're walking in it, we're living in it, we're seeing it unfold as we speak. I think Chaq said earlier today, there's nothing new under the sun. Either you or Bernard, one of the two of you had said that earlier, I know. There's nothing new under the sun, and it's so true. It's nothing new under the sun. It's all cyclical, which means it all comes back again. And we're moving in a place where, this. I tell you the truth, this country, unless it changes what it's going, its moral collapse is ridiculous. We talk about we love children, we love this, we love that. No, we don't. We don't love them when they're in the mother's womb. We got a segment of our population that wants to kill them then. We have a segment of our population that wants to see them dead when they come out the mother's womb.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
I got a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me. So you know what I find it mighty peculiar. They talking about gun violence, right? No, they killed all the children in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, whether the children got killed in the school or you killed them in the womb or sacrificed on an altar for an abortion, why are you screaming about gun violence? But the week before you were talking about abortion. What's the problem?
It's just the hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy.
That's what I'm saying. What's the problem?
It's the hypocrisy of this. The group that's so now upset and ready to pull their hairs out and everything else over the death of these children. I'm one of them, but I'm not that. I'm going to tell you who they really are the same ones who want a woman to have the right to kill the other person in their belly. Remember, there are two people that are part of this abortion thing. It's not just the mother. It's not even the father. It's the baby. That's a human being in her womb.
That's right.
You're talking about the rights of only one of the people in the womb. This is where truth comes out. There's not only one person in her belly. Yeah, if she wants to keep a bad kidney, let her keep a bad kidney. She wants to keep a bad heart, don't want heart surgery. She don't have to have heart surgery. and she wants to keep her this problem and that problem like it is without surgical procedure, let her do it. But when it comes to abortion, she's deciding on the life or death of another human being. And that's the human being that lives.
But look though, Bishop, but think about this.
Yeah.
You got abortion rallies. Women say, I got the right to choose. Hands on my bodies. Bands up. Oh, yes. And then you said, look at all the children that got killed in school. We got to stop gun violence.
Hypocrisy.
You know? Can we stop abortion violence then?
They don't see it in the same.
See, you can't have it both ways.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
They're hypocrites.
Like I said earlier, Bishop, where are the researchers? Where are the task force teams for? If we so concerned about children, the death of children. Why did you know it's 1.5 million children 5 years and under that have heart problems, that die from heart problems and heart complications?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Did y'all know that?
But once again, it's nothing to that, because this has significance. That doesn't. They don't care like that. See, we're still looking at it as if we're a moral country. Don't believe the hype. We're not moral. Because morality would mean that I would care about all children in every situation. How about the child? Just get to the thing again. How about the child that's on the playground and gets shot by a drive-by? Where is Al Sharpton then? Where is Crump then? Where are all these people then? Nobody even talks about it. And yes, stop abortion violence. That's true. Because you're killing it. I've never seen a woman, and I've seen many a births in my life. I'm a father and I'm a grandfather, so I've seen birth in my own family. I've never seen a woman ever give birth to anything but another human being. I've never seen it. Never. Even the Immaculate Conception, when it came down to it, Jesus was born. Not a chimpanzee, but Jesus, another human being. So even when you're dealing with the Holy Spirit being the daddy, when it comes down to it, the woman never gives birth to anything but another human.
Let me ask you the same question. You're on my show all the time.
Why is abortion higher in the Black community? Because we've been conditioned to believe the hype. Oh, poor disadvantaged children. They're going to be born and they're not going to have enough to eat. And it just don't seem fair that they should be brought into a world, they're going to be fatherless because men aren't in the homes anymore. So it's going to be left up to the mother. And because it's left up to the mother, it should be the mother's decision to kill the baby or keep the baby or do whatever it wants to do with the baby. That's why we believe the hype. We forget about Margaret Sanger, and I heard years ago. Now it's been told too much about who Margaret Sanger really was. But I remember there was a time when Margaret Sanger was a hero in the Black community, amongst Black feminists. She was a hero amongst Black feminists. Oh, she started the Planned Parenthood, and all. You forgot about what she really started it for. The first victims were children with disabilities. That's who she wanted to kill off first. Then she wanted to kill off anyone who had a disability that was going to have a child. That was the second group. The third one became African-American women who she thought were too poor to take care of the child. Let's kill them. And how did she get her support? She went to the Black church and she went to the Black preachers and told them, because she said in a letter that she wrote, she said, they won't believe me, but they'll believe them and they'll begin to have their sterilizations and their abortions. So she went to the Black preacher, and the Black preacher said, that's pretty right. I mean, it's not fair to have children out of wedlock. It's not fair to have children and the father leave. It's not fair, when you're struggling with one child or no children, now you're bringing a child into the world. It's just not fair to bring a child into a world of deprivation and starvation and hunger and all of these negative things. If I were you, I would abort. And we're still believing the same thing. Can you imagine how now we're now being challenged as being the number 2 minority group? used to be number one forever. Forever. It was white folks and it was us. Now we're number two minority group, number three in terms of all the groups. Can you imagine if the 87 million babies that have been aborted since 1973 would be still alive today? First of all, they'd be men and women, wouldn't they? If they were born in 1973.
Absolutely.
How many? We wouldn't be no second minority. We would still be a leading minority and maybe even the lead group in the country. But when you get rid of millions of babies who would now themselves be grown men and women having babies of their own, you're born in 1973, you could actually be technically a grandfather or a grandmother. You could be having two generations after you if you were born in 1973. So can you imagine how many black folk would be around here in this country if the women would have said, no, I'm going to, and then I'm going to tell you this, society needs to have done something. We need to have taken care of the baby. See, that's what I'm saying. We talk all this stuff about, let the baby be born or not be born, whatever. But the problem is we need to take care of the baby. We need to take care of the baby.
And proper nutrition too, before and during pregnancy, Bishop. That's important too.
All of it.
Breastfeeding. Get back to breastfeeding.
We could do it if we wanted to, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want these many people on earth. Let me tell you right now. We want to get rid of some folk. And according to what I read, that plan that Bernard has sent me, they got a diabolical way of doing it. They already got the groups they want to get rid of soon and very soon. Some of them are in Africa right now. Of all the nations that are part of this group, not one is African except for Egypt. And that's technically, you can even argue the fact, yeah, they're in Africa, but it's not the Africa we talking about. All the rest of them are European nations. Every one of them, except for China. That's the only non-European. That's an Asian nation. Then you have nobody else. But all the target groups are in Africa. Then you have the other target groups, that people with disabilities, senior citizens. They're all target groups too. So by the year 2050, I'll be almost 100. Then I'll be 99, which means I probably won't be here. It won't matter. Even if they get rid of me, it won't matter. I will live my life. We're going to be. This is going to be interesting. The future of this world, the future of this nation, is really going to be interesting. And really, I'm going to be honest with you. I really feel sad for people in your age group.
Right.
Because you still got 40, maybe 50 more years. What's it going to be like 40, 50 more years from now? If it goes in the direction it's now going. And everybody keeps quiet and don't say nothing and don't trouble the waters and don't make waves and don't say too much and use camouflage names instead of calling this, we call it something else so nobody gets offended and we're taken down and all that mess. Who cares you're taken down? Before this all came about, we fought and there was no internet. We got things done when there was no internet. How come we're so intimidated now?
Ooh.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was no TVs. Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was no radio. Radio didn't start in 1929.
I think it's called comfortable.
That's good. That's a good thing. That's good.
I think it's called being your comfort zone. Right. I think it's called being comfortable with being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe it. Keep in mind, in 1922, when the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing took place, most of the people in that town were ex-slaves. Nobody had a college degree, or not many. Most of them didn't have even a high school diploma.
Let me say something about that. I'm glad you said that.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Go on, Bernard.
Okay. Last week I sent you an article that 13% college enrollment is dropped. But people are going to trade schools more again. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Okay. So that would mean that the student loan debt really is a kind game because they know more people are leaving anyway. So if I get rid of the student loan debt, I might get some of that money back. That's where I get people to go. But you got too many gig workers. People just Make their own money. As a matter of fact, throughout the 2020 pandemic, you had over 91,000 small business laid off there. They laid off 91,000 workers. Right? Small business. But the big businesses behind, and now they might go through a freeze and go to stagflation and a recession, slow it down. Right? I'm going to high freeze them. But that crushed a lot of small businesses, exactly what it's designed to do. Now, we gotta talk about college and prospects. Well, I didn't get a degree. The degree is only a degree of being trained in a specific field. It does not give you a degree of knowledge in your head. What we're talking about right now.
Right.
All life skills, Menard.
That's right. Let's go along. Yeah, that's right, Monel. Let's go along, get along, game. But this is what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say the best. Well, I can't say the best and brightest. Not the best and the brightest, but the elites, the CEOs of companies. Some of these supervisors, even on your job, they don't got no college education. So college education ain't a way to make you rich, no way. So not getting on your Bishop too much, but back in the day, it was, hey, your time when you came up was, hey, I'm gonna get a job to feed my family. Then after the 70s and 60s, we got into the civil rights era, they said, hey, your job, daughter or son, is to go to high school, go to college, and get you a job. Well, first of all, that's the wrong mentality anyway. You going to college, you should be getting a career. You should be saying go to college and get a good job. That's a bad omen.
Right.
Should be saying a business, but a business in what? Because you got people that have college degrees that working at McDonald's, man.
Oh yeah, very much so.
So college is, while it can help you, it's not always a springboard to make you a better person. So always don't be fooled when they say they're educated, because just because you go to college doesn't mean it means you're educated in a certain field of knowledge, but you're not educated all the way around. Just remember that.
That's true.
Right. Now, Bernard, I'm glad you brought that up, because remember I was saying I was going to address something, and wow, this is how we walk right into this. You brought up, and Bishop was talking about you can get out of during your time, you can get out of high school and you can work and you can survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put this on y'all brain. Think about this. From 0 to 12th grade, that's 12 years of schooling, right? How come we're not certified in anything in 12 years of school? Put that on your head. We go to school for 12 years and not certified and specialize in nothing. But you're gonna tell me I gotta do higher learning. I gotta go 2 extra years to a college, a university, institution, maybe 4 years, 6 years to get a PhD. That don't add up, Bishop. How can I go to school? How can I go to school for 12 years and not be certified? But then I can go to school for 4 years and get certified and specialize in something. Make sense to me.
In my day, we had trade schools. You learn how to be a plumber. You learn how to be a craftsman. All of this. We had actually schools for that. And you could opt to stay in high school, or you could go to the trade school. Mm-hmm. And when you got out the trade school, you became an apprentice and plumber, or you became an apprentice laborer. A carpenter, whatever you specialized in electrician. You became an apprentice electrician. So that was the first level of your being in the field that you're studying in high school. And you went on to do that. There's no more trade schools anymore. Right. The beginning is proper begin, but there was a long period of time where trade schools became obsolete. When I went to school, I learned about wood shop. We had wood shop, metal shop. The girls had home economics, other things like that. those things are passe now. I mean, most schools don't even have those type of things. But we had all that. Then when you went to high school, you could either stay in high school, the regular high school, or you go to trade school. And in trade school, you would get your degree and your diploma, rather, and your certification for whatever you specialize in. And that's why many of them became good at that, electricians, and they became in those fields. As integration started and really caught on, then, like you're saying, then college was pushed. It wasn't so much trade school. Trade schools were closed down. The opportunity to go to trade schools were closed down. And now everybody was either asked to go to community colleges, which were 2-year colleges, the 4-year colleges, or just like you say, if they want to go for their PhD or master's, that's an extra 2 to 4. If you want to be a doctor, that's an extra 6. You want to be extra 12. You want to be a lawyer, that's an extra 6. So colleges were pushed. But like Bernard said, but there was so many lacks of jobs in those areas that you didn't do it. Now I'm gonna tell you something that happened during the period of pushing for college. People were taking college courses that had no future to them. What I mean by that is,
talk about
for example, they told me, because I was into religion and all that. I got my bachelor's in religion. I could do absolutely nothing with that. Because I couldn't, because there's no such thing as religion per se. You have to either teach religion, which means now you got to go get your master's degree or your PhD. So now you can, just like you're saying, Shaq, now you got to go extra time in school. The 4 years is not going to do it, because your little bachelor in religion means nothing. You can maybe be a pastor in your church, that may help you there, but in terms of your career, that's not going to help you, because you got to teach it. That's the only way you're going to get any money from. You got to be a professor. You can't be a professor with a bachelor's degree. So now you got to go on to school.
Now, I highly doubt, I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that we see these Asian, Indian infused restaurants and stores popping up in our neighborhoods around the world, around the United States, or going to college for them to get them type of jobs, to create economics for their family. Now they may be paying the money that they're getting out those stores, those businesses that they're creating. They may be paying for their children's education to get them, for them to be like physicists, engineers, and stuff like that. See, that's the economic base that you can build. But they don't push business and entrepreneurship and how to build a corporation to our people, our children. That's how you run a nation.
Well, the government helps them. The government helps them to establish these businesses. Government's don't help us unless we support each other, and whether we don't support each other either. So that's why we have so few black businesses in this world today. I mean, there's nobody there to help us. The government sure enough is not going to help us. The government helps them.
And then we don't participate, Bishop. We don't spend our dollars with them, with the so-called black business and stuff.
We don't. But we're spending with the other.
You need participation. Yeah, you need participation. You need participation.
You do. Why are we?
So this is what I teach my son. He told me the other day he wanted to be a physicist. Through me.
Okay.
So there's some young ones out here that want to do things, and they see the same things we talk about. They just don't have a voice right now. They 15, 16, and they minds are wondering. They creative think captures own. But when they go to some of these schools and some of these colleges, they get indoctrinated. And all that imagination and think cap get through out the window.
Well, let me bring this up.
Problem solving and stuff. Yeah.
Let me say this. One thing about it, it's been a lot of indoctrination, a lot of brainwashing, a lot of everything. But I think we covered a whole lot of topics tonight. I'm glad everybody shared it. Got a couple things got to do. Got a couple of events got to handle this weekend. But I think tomorrow it's supposed to be on with the Greek. Dr. Lockhart or Felipe Lockhart. I don't know if she's great. It is great. I'll probably be on her show. I think Bishop will be on there as well. I don't know if she'll be a holler, but nevertheless.
But
I said, Relax. I'll try to arrange it in my own. That's okay. Everybody's got so much things to do. Just remember, people, I want to bring this to you before I leave. I was doing calculations on gas prices, but I can't ever get the calculations right because it goes every week. So I'm not going to give you those calculations because your tank, it might cost you $100 to fill up mine, and it might cost me $50 to fill up mine, or one fill up. If it gets to $5 a gallon, 10-gallon tank, $50, right? A lot of tough times, food prices going up, you know. A dozen eggs now cost you $3, which is almost unheard of. Right? So, and I don't eat eggs, but I have few lines there, but it's okay. But everybody, like they say, buckle up your seatbelts, because it's gonna be a summer like you never seen. So, and the good part is, Bishop, at least I did get to come see you in February because
yes, you did. Thank you.
I don't think I'd be coming up to Philadelphia with $5 gas. And it's still knocking me for extra $300 out when I was up there. So they're getting that money back from the pool, and they're coming even harder. However, it's been a great show tonight. We just shouted the information.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Always good to be on with Chaq, always. And you know, it's always great to be with you, BJ, always.
Sure.
And remember, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll talk with the G-Man. We'll be talking about this and so many other topics of interest and of importance to our community as Black folk and our community as human beings. We need to get together. We need to find out the truth. For it still is the truth that'll set us free.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Shaq.
Yo, as usual, salute, man. You know, the platform is needed. We need more black so-called black media outlets to allow our point of view, get our perspective, because we are intelligent. We are born smart. We are born scientists. We are born engineers. We're every spectrum on the board. We are born that. And I want to encourage some of the young people, the youth, to say, "Hey, you're not slaves. You're not just slaves. You didn't come from just slaves. You came from great people, great ancestors. Keep your head up." In the words of Tupac. You can catch me on Instagram, CLE Smooth 81 on Instagram, and YouTube. You can catch me at CL Smooth Live on YouTube. Tap in, man. Give me some subscribers, man. Maybe I can go live more. You know. But appreciate it, Bernard.
Thank you, sir. And I know where to find me, Bernard Jones, Facebook, TVJmedia.com. You got KingBJFitness.com. That's kind of experience DJ website now. 1987 BJ Twitter, and a couple other things going on. Bernard 1121 Instagram, KingBJ Fitness 32 Instagram. We on a little bit more often. But like I said, I used to come on more often, but I need to round out my topics because there's so many things going on. I have to get it all in the symposium. I don't like to just come and then some happen out of it, they get it all in one. So by a lot of things went over last week and stuff, they would let me buckle down on the subject I really want to talk about. But if y'all got something y'all want to talk about, you know, I know there's some people in the chat that got my Messenger or Instagram or whatever. They can send it to me, and I might be able to export it. I mean, I throw Bishop Scott some things on here. He uses some of my information I give him, so I can do the same as well. It's just that I just have so much on my mind at one time. I have to kind of, bring it all in one, and then I ad-lib a lot too. I don't always use paper, but a lot of times I do. But whatever, it's all didn't matter how you do it. They playing the game on us, so I got to play the game back on them. But I want y'all to have a good night and take your time.
God bless you. Talk to you
Yes,
later,
sir.
guys.